Okay, good morning, everyone. So today we are going to present our material that is about language acquisitions and language learning. But before we explain the material, we will introduce ourselves first. Our member is, the first one member is Agung, and the second one is Farel, and the third one is me, and the last one is Nessa Larasanti. Okay, next. So we can see here that is language is a very important part of human life because we use language to communicate our ideas, feelings, and truth. So without language, it will be very difficult for us to interact with other people. And then in learning English or other language, there are two important concepts that we need to understand. They are language acquisitions and language learning. Many people think they are the same, but actually they are different process. Language acquisitions happen naturally and unconsciously. For example, when children learn their first language from their parents, they do not study grammar rules, but they can speak fluently. On the other hand, language learning happens consequently, usually in formal situations like in the classroom, students learn grammar, vocabulary, and etc. So, next.
So yeah, this part we will learn about what is the language acquisition. So the definition, language acquisition is the natural and systematic process through which children develop their first language by gradually mastering sound, vocabulary, and grammatical structures, of course. So from the perspective of the fillers, language development is closely connected to cognitive growth, particularly in the development of syntax and a children understanding of meaning and mental states. So the theoretical foundation of the or based on the fillers, according to the fillers, language acquisition is not merely imitation, but a structural and development process in which children actively construct grammatical knowledge. Their research emphasized that first one is syntax, developed systematic in stage, complex sentence structure. Example, Gracia is are complement clauses like he said that, blah, blah, blah. So play a crucial role in cognitive development. So the third one is grammatical development support the growth of the theory of mind or the ability to understand others through other thought and belief. So this perspective link language development with broader cognitive and psychological development. And the characteristic of language acquisition by the Filler's perspective, there are 5 point characteristic. So according to the Fillers, language acquisition develop systematically, especially in the term of syntactic growth. So the children do not acquire complex sentence structure instantly. Instead, they begin with simple utterances as a single word or source combination of words and gradually develop more complex grammatical construction. This shows that the language development flow predictable stage and is not random. So the another important characteristic is that syntax play a central role in cognitive development. For the for the fillers, grammar is not only about forming correct sentence, but it also support children thinking ability. But it also, for the example, when children learn to use complement clauses as she thinks that or she said that, they begin to understand that people can have different thoughts belief, or perspective. So in this way, syntactic development contribute to deeper cognitive understanding. Furthermore, the pillar emphasized the connection between language acquisition and theory of mind. Theory of mind refer to the ability to understand that the other people have their own belief desire, and the mental state which may be different from reality. And research show that children who master complex sentence structure, especially complement clauses, tend to perform better in tasks that require understanding false belief. So another characteristic is rule construction. Children do not simply memorize sentences they hear from adults. Instead, they actively construct grammatical rules. Evidence of this can be seen when children produce forms such as good instead of when or Moses instead of mice. This error demonstrates that children are applying internal grammatical rules rather than merely imitating language. So finally, language acquisition involves the gradual mastery of complex structure such as embedded clauses and relative clauses emerge step by step. As children's synthetic ability become more advanced, their capacity for abstract thinking also develop. Next will be explained by Nesala.
Okay, next is language learning. What is language learning? Language learning is a conscious and intentional process in which learners deliberately study a language. It usually takes place in formal classroom setting where a teacher provides explicit instruction about grammar rules, sentence structures, and vocabulary. In this process, learners are aware that they are studying the language and often rely on memorization, drills, and structures exercise. Error correction and feedback play an important role as accuracy is emphasized more than fluency. Language learning develops explicit knowledge, meaning learners can explain grammatical rules and language forms, although they may not always use them. Automatically is spontaneous communication. So, based on the explanation on this slide, language learning can be understood as a conscious and intentional process where learners try to study language. So this means that learners are aware that they are learning the language, and this process usually takes place in formal settings such as classroom, where the teachers provide explicit instruction about grammar rules, sentence structures, and vocabulary. In language learning, students often use techniques such as memorization drills and structure exercise to understand how the language works. And then in addition, uh, correction and feedback from the teachers also play an important roles in this process because language learning tends to focus more on accuracy rather than fluency. So as the result, learners develop what is called explicit knowledge, which means they are able to explain grammatical rules and language forms, even though they may not always be able to use them automatically in spontaneous communication. Okay, next is characteristic of language learning. So language is systematic, rule government, and structured. It consists of interconnected components such as sounds or phonology, word formation or morphology, and sentence structures or syntax or meanings or semantic, and context use or pragmatics. Language is also arbitrary, meaning there is no natural connection between words and their meanings. Is it productive, allowing a speaker to create infinite sentence from a limited element. Additionally, language is social and cultural, as it reflects the identity, values, and norm of a community. The community. So this characteristic distinguishes human language from others from our communication. Okay, next is will be explained by Farel.
Okay, so for the next is the key difference. So in source, the key difference is the between language acquisitions and also the language learning that lies in the level of questions and also the learning process involved. And the language acquisition is a subconscious and natural process that occurs through meaningful interactions and also the exposure to the language, similar to how children to develop their first language. So while acquisitions develops implicit knowledge that enables spontaneous communications, that learning develops explicit knowledge that allows learners to understand and explain are important, but the functions is differently in language development. So as you can see, there's in language learnings, such as like subconscious process, natural communications, focus on the meaning. Develops fluency, errors are tolerate, implicit knowledge, and the last is similar to the first language development. And for the language acquisitions is also the processes process. Formal classroom instructions focus on grammar rules, develop accuracy, errors are corrected, and explicit knowledge and last is similar to studying app subjects. So this for the key difference of the comparisons. Next, okay, for the case study one, we search from AI assisted language learning for preschools present second language acquisition theory by Imamas and Surani from 2025 on the article. So the study by Imama and Surani in 2025 demonstrates that AI-based platforms grounded in Carlson's SLA theory significantly outperform traditional methods for preschools language learning by prioritizing comprehensible input and allow and safety environment over 24 weeks. The experimental group achieved superior gains in both receptive and productive skills, alongside increased fluency. Beyond linguistic progress, the AI system fostered greater students' motivations and spontaneous language use, proving that an acquisitions-oriented approach is more effective for early childhood development than conventional grammar-heavy instructions. Next. So the case study two is AI assisted also by language by Sun Yichao in 2025. Sorry for that. So the study by Sun Yichao in 2025 published in lecture notes in education psychology and the public media examines the impact of intercultural teaching strategies on children's second language acquisitions through the lens of Byron's intercultural competence model. By analyzing classrooms practice, the research highlights that methods such as story-based learning, simulations, and cross-cultural comparisons enable learners to transcend rote memorizations. These learner-centered communications enrich activities, foster different cultural misunderstanding, and more natural language acquisitions, demonstrating that integrating intercultural context is essential for developing genuine communicative competence in young learners. And next is case study three. Study on influence of implicit and explicit learning in second language acquisitions on reading by Cheng Liu in 2025 article. So, the published in the Journal of Sociology and also Educations. The study by Cheng Liu in 2025 investigates the synergy between implicit unconscious and explicit conscious learning in English reading comprehensions. The research found that while both modes are beneficial, a combined approach yields the highest comprehension outcomes, while implicit learning allows students to internalize language patterns naturally. Explicit strategies provide the necessary awareness of rules. Together, they create a synergistic effects of optimized reading proficiency more effectively than the other method used in isolations. Okay, next. So the next slide will be reset by Yalins. Sorry, Yalins, your mic still up.
Okay, I'm so sorry. So for the conclusions here is that we know that language acquisitions and language learning are two different but complementary processes in mastering a language. Language acquisitions occur naturally through interaction and meaningful communications, while language learning happens through conscious cues play an important role in improving language ability. As English learners, we experience language learning in the classroom, but we also experience language acquisition through daily exposures such as social media, movies, and conversations. Therefore, combining both processes can help learners achieve better fluency and accuracy in using a language. So, guys, that's all from our presentations today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your attention. Bye bye.